What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to This Week in Esports and Gaming, the show where we talk about the latest and greatest in business happenings for esports, gaming, and creator news. I'm your host, Mark Kai. We're here for the third week of July 2023. Lots of news to dive into, so let's dive right into it. For our first top 3 story, there are more Microsoft and Activision Blizzard acquisition updates, so let's just go over them right now. So earlier in the week, the FTC was denied their appeal to block the acquisition by the courts, so this would basically mean that there are very few things, if nothing, stopping the deal from proceeding in the United States. Additionally, Microsoft and Sony signed a 10-year deal to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation, but that's just Call of Duty and no other games are noted there. The FTC wanted to do some last-minute actions to stop this, but they ended up actually withdrawing their in-house challenge to the deal. That being said, something to note is that the judge who oversees this case has a son who works at Microsoft, so there might be some conflict of interest here. Blatant conflict of interest, maybe. He doesn't work for the gaming side of the company, but either way, that's just something to note there. Afterwards, the deal is going to expire, and Microsoft would have had to pay $3 billion as a fine to Activision Blizzard, but their deadline was extended to October 18th, now with either a $3.5 or $4.5 billion fee if the deal doesn't go through, pending on the specific time. Now, the companies are basically waiting for the UK's CMA to make its final decision before August 29th or 28th, which is the date that they said they'd try to have that decision by. All in all, there's a lot going on with this deal. Obviously, it seems like Microsoft has a pretty big advantage and momentum shift with the courts deciding in their favor. Those not in favor of big companies acquiring other big companies are obviously not a fan of this, and given Microsoft is way larger than Sony by financial statements, it could be something to be worried about. Either way, we'll be curious to see the CMA's response in August. Overwatch League Esports are kind of uncertain right now. I guess this is still Activision Blizzard news, but slightly different. So I'm covering this from a separate section here. Firstly, Overwatch League franchise owners will vote on an updated operating agreement at the end of the current season. This was disclosed by Activision Blizzard in their financial filing. And if teams don't vote to continue under the updated operating agreement, a termination fee of $6 million will be paid to each franchise. Activision Blizzard said the combined cost of these would be around $114 million should all teams go in this kind of pathway. And this also comes after they were talking about how their pro esports leagues continue to face headwinds. This is also a nice little transition to the second part of the news, which is unfortunate. Activision Blizzard has laid off around 50 esports staff as these cuts to the Overwatch League happen as well. Despite Diablo 4 launch doing so well, the overall company for Activision Blizzard, the esports department, might not be as solid here. And with all that being said, firstly, I'd like to show some support for those who were laid off, so let me know if there's anything I can do to help in any way. Secondly, the Overwatch League commissioner Sean Miller confirmed Overwatch esports will still happen. They just might look different than the Overwatch League and how it might look more like the Apex tournament style that the Korean teams ran in Overwatch in the past. With all the acquisition news being very relevant, I'm curious to see where Overwatch, Call of Duty, and other esports scenes from Activision Blizzard will continue to go and how they'll be affected if the acquisition does go through. For our final top 3 story, Karat have raised a $70 million Series B. Some of you might be asking, what is Karat? Well, Karat's a financial company that aims to help creators manage their money across payments, bank accounts, invoicing, and more. And they're most known for their current business credit card that gives creators large limits based on their social and financial stats so they continue to make content. Creators can get rewards based on things that they spend on, and they can also be helped in other categories with billboard exposure, podcast help, cash back, and more. They also now offer bookkeeping for accounting, taxes, financial reports, and more. Since creators often have larger teams, they need to pay along with other expenses and whatnot that they need to keep hold of. And the round is actually a combination of debt, which is $30 million led by Triple Point Capital and $40 million of equity led by Signal Fire. They also saw participation from Union Square Ventures, CRV, GGV, Commerce Ventures, and others as well. Notably, they also have endorsements from creators like Graham Stephan, Real Engineering, Alex Botez, 3Lau, Nas Daily, Ludwig, Moist Critical, Nick DeGiovanni, and more. And lots of those creators I mentioned are also participating in the investment round as well, which I assume is because many of them use the products from Karat. This is honestly a huge raise for a creator-specific focused company. Really excited to see the future of Karat and what the co-founders Eric Wei and Will Kim continue to build. The company currently has around 55 employees, so I'm expecting that to grow more in the future with this huge raise. As far as partnerships go, Riot Games partnered with GG Tech. The two companies signed a 3-year partnership deal that will see GG Tech be Riot's official provider of its North American collegiate program for League of Legends and Valorant. This will not result in any changes to the current Scholastic community competition guidelines for League or Valorant, though. Julius Baer partnered with Chess.com. The private Swiss bank will now have the Julius Baer Generation Cup named after the company and will also become the title partner of the Julius Baer Women's Speed Chess Championship. Luminosity Gaming have partnered with Steelcase. Steelcase will be the official performance seeking partner for the organization by providing creators and pros with Steelcase chairs. They will also create content together with players, coaches, and creators of Luminosity. Guild Esports partners with Pixel AI. Guild Esports will aim to generate advertising revenues from its own video content using Pixel AI's optimization tools, and this is a 1-year deal that will cover Guild Studios as well. Tencent partnered with Aston Martin. 3 cars from Aston Martin will be available inside PUBG Mobile. That's the DBX 707, Valkyrie, and DBS Volante, so players can look cool while they play the game. There will also be an exclusively themed parachute for players to use as well. HyperX have partnered with Pittsburgh Knights. HyperX will be the official gaming peripheral collaborator for Knights, and they'll also use HyperX products and collaborate on a variety of content and activations. For finance and M&A, Kahoot have been acquired for $1.7 billion. Goldman Sachs, Lego Group, General Atlantic, and Giltraford AS were all named as major shareholders in this deal. Kahoot previously raised $500 million, though the company noted it only had cash equivalents of $96 million by the end of Q2. Diogo Jota has invested in Galaxy Racer. The Portuguese footballer previously owned his own esports org called Diogo Jota Esports, but will now be rebranded to Luna Galaxy, which falls under the Galaxy Racer umbrella. He'll also play a role in deciding the org's esports strategy. Closing Theory have raised $2.3 million. The mobile game studio had its round led by Andreessen Horowitz with participation from Powerhouse Capital and Seth Civic. The round will be used to work on their titles House Rush and Neighborhood Rush, as well as expand into other games potentially. Futureverse have raised $54 million. 10T Holdings led the round with also participation from Ripple. Futureverse's tech platform includes a suite of proprietary AI tools to generate content that's designed to enhance music, object, characters, and animations inside games, and the funding will be used to expand their team and drive metaverse and AI collaboration with this new technology. Screen Australia invested $3 million into 21 games. This came via the Games Expansion Pack and the First Nations Game Studio Funds, which span a variety of genres and platforms. And the Games Expansion Pack Fund was started in March of 2022 and now has distributed over $8 million towards the development of 62 games with an average of $129,000 per game. Cool to see more support for gaming in Australia. As far as workforce changes go, Galen Malone and Nadia Sung have been promoted to SVP of Talent and SVP of Strategic Partnerships at Loaded. Galen has a lot of experience with creators and in esports, as she was previously the VP of Talent at Loaded for a year and a half before promotion. Before that, she spent around 4.5 years at Cloud9 as a senior GM overseeing the entirety of the Cloud9 esports operation. She holds a bachelor's in game and interactive media design from Savannah College of Art and Design. And Nadia moves up after 2 years at Loaded, most recently as the VP of Strategic Partnerships. She was previously with CAA for 5 years as an agent in the baseball sphere, so lots of creator and influencer knowledge there as well, and holds a bachelor's degree in comms from UCLA. Justin Weisberg joins Tencent as a director of business development. Justin was a co-founder of Cast, which was an esports video streaming company before it was acquired in 2022, and he also spent time after the acquisition at Live Current Media, and now joins Tencent doing business development. He holds a bachelor's in economics from UC Santa Cruz. Steve Brontuck joins Horizon Media as an SVP. He comes from Misfits Gaming, where he was previously the CMO for 2 years, and before that he was a director of marketing at Activision Blizzard, so he evidently knows his way around the gaming and esports space. He held account roles in the agencies in the past as well, and he holds a master's in journalism from Northwestern University. Destiny Van Toft has been promoted to as Director of Partnerships at HyperX. Destiny has been with HyperX for nearly 7 years now, is most recently the head of global gaming partnerships at the company. She's worked across retail marketing, partnerships, and channel marketing as well, and holds a bachelor's in communication and multimedia design from the Rotterdam University of Applied Sciences. Skylar Matson joined Safronic as the new CEO. Skylar joined Safronic after spending over 20 years at Wongdotty as the president of the company, and while she was there, she grew the company from 100 to 2,000 employees and worked on many cool initiatives. She holds a bachelor's in comms and business from UCLA. Ben Goldhaber joins GGWP in a marketing position. Ben is a veteran of the gaming and esports space, as he was most recently the co-founder and CEO of Juked, which is a community app for esports fans. He was previously a founding member at Twitch, and he will now be helping GGWP with marketing. He holds a bachelor's in environmental economics from UC Santa Cruz. Jonathan Jennings joins Alchemy Labs as a gameplay engineer too. Jonathan has a plethora of gaming engineering experience and has been involved in quite a bit in the game dev space. He's a community organizer with Black in Gaming and has held roles with Mindshow, No Static Games, and more. And he holds a bachelor's in game and simulation programming from DeVry University. As far as new stuff goes, Yuki have unveiled new loot box restrictions in the United Kingdom. These restrictions would allow the industry to regulate the use of loot boxes, and they would take form in 11 guidelines, such as a commitment to restrict gamers under 18 from purchasing loot boxes without parental consent. This comes after 3 years of investigation from the British government. Karat Agency are going to cease operations. This was announced early in the week by Mathieu Lecroix, who is the CEO of the larger Hurrah Group, and the media and buying arm of Hurrah Media and Hurrah Studio will actually continue to operate going forward, but it's a sad day to see this after 8 years after they launched. The agency notably worked with brands like Ubisoft, Riot Games, Coca-Cola, Domino's, and more. That's it for this week in esports and gaming. Thank you so much for tuning in. Credit to the authors and brands themselves for the images and information provided. Once again, quick shout out to the Esports Advocate and all the folks doing great work there. And if you want to show some support for me, please tag someone down below in the comments who might find this valuable, or share this with your network. And as always, everybody, have a great day.